Now here's a video I've been wanting to do for a long time now. I also think the title of this video can pretty much explain itself. The only rule is that for a level to be on here, I have to have 100%ed the game it's in. So with that said, let's go! The new Super Mario Bros. Games are far from the hardest games in the series, but once you get to the Star Worlds in the post-game, oh boy the difficulty is spiked up. Run for It is definitely an appropriate name for this level. There's virtually no platforms here, so the only way across is to hit the P-switches that turn the coins into brick block. You hit that P-switch and the game will give you just about enough time to make it to the next one. Messing up a jump or anything like that basically translates to death, and there's a fair share of enemies in the way as well, which can also slow you down. Don't expect a fire plow to help you through these Koopas, but the real challenge comes into collecting the star coins, the first of which is surrounded by brick blocks, which you need to ground pound in and get out of quickly. Also, you'll need to stop the ground pound in the blocks, otherwise you'll break the bottom bricks as well, which will screw you over regardless if you get back up, because that timer will be nearly over. The second star coin where you have to wait for the Koopa to be high enough to bounce on, which you know, takes time, so it'll be a very close call to the next P-switch. Often I have to wait for this Koopa to be at a nice height, which often means I have to jump right as the P-switch ends, so if I miss, I'm dead. And the last of which requires a well-timed jump, so you're in the air when the bricks and coins switch back. Okay, so if you have the acorn mushroom power-up, you can easily get the second and third star coins with air jumps whilst you're gliding. But even if you have the acorn mushroom, you pretty much have to speedrun this level. It's been almost a decade now since 3D Mario games like to end on an insanely hard level. 3D Land Special 8 Crown is the easiest of the bunch, but it's not without its challenge. One thing I can say is that it was a lot of fun trying to get to this level, as you had to beat every other level as both characters, collect every star medal, and reach the top of every flagpole. And once the game's done laughing at you for that, it throws in one last laugh at you. With its tight jumps on tiny blocks that even with Tanuki Mario is hard to land on, bouncing off these Goombas and Toads are risky, the double boss fight, and this tilting platform with fuzzies in your way, Bob-ombs trying to float down on you, and fire bars everywhere. The latter of which isn't quite done with you, as they show up again whilst you're platforming on the donut block, which, you know, fall if you stay on them for too long, and it all ends with a final chase sequence against Cosmic Mario. Oh, and by the way, there's no checkpoints in this level. For how easy most of this game was, this level's difficulty really came out of nowhere. It was kind of a pleasant, or not so pleasant, surprise. Oh, and if you want full credit for this stage, you have to beat the stage twice with Mario and Luigi. Have fun! You know what I miss from some of the older Paper Mario games? When you could basically do what you wanted after you beat the final boss, cooking all of the recipes, finding all of the badges, and doing the Pit of 100 trials. The name is sort of a lie, as whilst yes there are 100 rooms, there's only 91 trials, as every 10th level until 90, it gives you a free badge. But the other rooms have you facing groups of enemies. It's not too bad for the most part, they are enemies you've dealt with before, not to mention this puny can skip some of the floors for you. But once you get to the last 30, brand new enemies start to show up that have high HP counts and do insane amounts of damage, all grouped together. But thankfully you can get a lot of star points out of them, so you should level up every now and again, which fully heals you. So that helps tremendously, but it won't take long for you to fall back down again, so I hope you can manage your items well. My suggestion is you go to the 50th floor, get the strange sack, leave, and stock up on as many Jelly Ultras as you need. You will need them for the Bone Tail boss fight at the end, as this guy's one of the hardest bosses in the series. 200 friggin' health and insane attack strength. Oh, and if you die at any point, you have to go all the way back to the beginning. Yeah, the lack of checkpoints is going to become a running theme for some of these levels. And if you thought those last Pit of 100 Trials was evil, Block-Size Pit of 100 Trials is way worse. Whereas the last one only really got dangerous on the last 30 levels, here they're dangerous throughout the whole thing. Every dark enemy has a high HP count and does more damage compared to their normal forms. It'd be like if the flip side was the original Super Mario Bros, then flop side is like the lost levels. It starts off hard and just gets more brutal. Also, Super Paper Mario is way less forgiving on you than bouncing your door, as you can't increase the number of items to 20, and there's no way of skipping any floors this time. Unlike the last Pit of 100 Trials, it ends with the hardest boss in the game, which by the way, who thought it'd be a good idea to make us play through this pit twice?
This is not okay.
Anyway, you then have to fight off 4 dark clones of yourselves that each deal either 10 or 20 damage, and each of them have 100 HP. So in total, that's 400 HP. That's more than Count Black and Super Dimentio combined. Oh, and if you die, well, have fun going through the pit a third time. Super Mario 64's controls have not aged the best. Sure, it's not much of an issue at the start, but once the game starts getting harder, you really start to notice it. Most notably, in Tick-Tock Clock. This level is home to some of the most insane platforming in the series, depending on what the time was when you entered the clock. Most of these stars you can get whilst the clock is still, but if you want the 4th star in this place, which is right at the top, the clockworks need to be moving, and since it's a vertical level, one mess up is at best going to send you down the level. The rotating blocks can easily send you off if you time your backflips poorly. This platform here can be very deceptive, and this jump here is insane. Not only that, you have these rotating platforms to get through, and this bastard will try to burn you whilst you're waiting for the arrow to come over. Falling at any point in this level is soul crushing, but that arrow is why you need the parts moving, otherwise you can't get up there. Not even getting onto the thwomp is that easy. Like I've already said, this course is just filled with some of the most insane platforming in the series, and with its very vertically based level design, one slip up is going to send you down, like half the level at least. Easily the hardest normal star in 64. Super Mario Galaxy is easily one of the best Wii games out there, but it wasn't afraid to get hard at points, particularly in some of the comets. There are 5 different kinds of comets, but the only ones that really gave me any problems were the purple comets and the daredevils, the latter of which is because if you mess up, dead. Normally, they only had you taking on the boss of the galaxy, Screw Camella, but Melty Molten Void be fun to have you play through the whole first level again. So basically everything the original level had, do it all in one go without one hit. The sinking platforms over the lava, the steam jets that can easily catch you out, the fire rocks in the pulsar area that can also easily catch you out, trying to take out the little cinders where everything seems to be trying to burn your buttocks, and this lava spire at the end where everything wants you dead. It's easily one of the most insane stars Mario has ever gotten, asking a lot more of you than any other daredevils have. You basically need to build up muscle memory to stand any chance on this one, especially on that lava spire, because nature here isn't patient. Oh, and in a similar fashion to Special Crown, there's no checkpoints, so good luck. I can see why some people consider this the hardest star in the game, but there's another one that gave me a lot more trouble. Yeah, Run For It isn't even the hardest level in New Super Mario Bros. U. No, that order goes to Pendulum Castle, the 8th level in the Star World. The whole level involves you dodging pendulums, obviously, on the donut blocks, but there are several times where you have to time when to progress through the level. And just look at how tight some of these jumps are. And this occurs countless amounts of times in the level, often on the donut blocks. I've brought up before how they fall off if you stay on them for too long, so whilst you're waiting to time progressing through, make sure the blocks don't drop on you. And when they combine all of that with tight platforming, it's nerve-wracking to say the least. But like Run For It, the real evil comes into trying to collect the star coins. The first one's not too bad as you will have a safe side to jump to, but the second one requires very quick movement with your jumps. Although thankfully that leads to a star, which you can use to cheese some of the level. Hintity hint hint. The first star coin, however, is even worse. You need to activate this switch and get down here before the pendulum swings back, and then quickly jump into the coin and get out of the way before the pendulum comes back again. Often I just have to resort to a hit here, though after that it's a clean shot. You can complain about how unoriginal this game was all you want, and I can even join you on that, but it becomes a whole nother level of frustration when you're going for 100%. I brought up previously that most of the hard stars in Galaxy was because of a comet, but there was also the trial galaxies. All of them were based on a motion control gimmick you saw in a previous Galaxy, but the difficulty's been ramped up to 11. Rolling Gizmo was very close to making this list, but thankfully it's really short. I can't say the same for the Electric Labyrinth. The level starts right on this planet with 5 pipes and a sign that basically says your bubble is the only way through here, and it pops in one hit. Good luck, and it's all above the emptiness of space. So whilst this level isn't technically a Daredevil comment, it might as well be, but it gets worse. How? Because everything in this level wants you dead. The bombs everywhere, the fire jets, and worst of all, the electric fences covering the arena. It's split into 2 sections. In the first section, you have to use those 5 pipes to face 5 mini challenges in the bubble, collecting a star chip each time. However, there's no checkpoints here, so mess up once, well, the only checkpoint is right at the start of the second half, but that's where the real fun begins. Have fun being chased by the bullet bills, whilst going around tight corners and things trying to block you. The precision you need here is ridiculous, and this section alone is enough for me to consider this the hardest star in the game. And I think I'm always going to think that. That might just be because I'm not the best with motion controls, but I will always remember being massacred on this level. Super Mario Odyssey is a mostly easy game, but when you're trying to go for 100%, man, this game can get brutal. Some of the moves in the post-game really require you to know how Mario controls well, otherwise you're and you pretty much got a bit of everything of that in Long Journey's End. Out of all the final levels in the 3D Mario games, Long Journey's End is easily the longest. This level's a freaking marathon. Granted, not every section is difficult, but none of them are easy. The hardest sections were the tide jumps here with the lava podoboos, maneuvering through blocks pushing you out without Cappy, flinging forks over the lava, unless you use glider and abuse the air draft, and pretty much everything past this pipe at the end. In fact, that bit's the hardest and most annoying, because you have the rainbow burbos everywhere, and this part with the Pokey-Orb up instant death. Unlike Special 8, there's no checkpoints, so if you die, even at the final Bowser part where it's deceptively easy to slip off, well, you know. However, this game does like being somewhat generous to you. There's hearts that can refill your health all over the place, usually not requiring too much effort, and this Sphinx can grant you a super heart to increase your health to 6, so that helps a lot. But those hearts won't help the parts with bottomless pits, but like I've said before, it's all completely worth climbing that last tower though. When it came to picking the hardest star in this game, there was a lot of options, but ultimately, I went with the 100 coin star in Rainbow Ride. A lot of Rainbow Ride starts with hard to get, the tricky platforming to get the red coins, the tricky platforming to get swinging in the breeze and tricky triangles, the tricky platforming on the magic carpets and this spinning platform, basically just tricky platforming everywhere that's all above a bottomless pit, and not held by 64's controls. But to get the 100 coin star here, you need to go to several of these areas, and possibly even more. There's this bit near the red coins that has 6 blue coins. The first one is easy to nab, but the other 5 require a string of well-timed wall jumps, and if you mess up once, you're not getting the rest. And even when you do get up there, that timer isn't patient, so if you're not in line with those coins, you're not going to get them all, and you'll want those blue coins, because otherwise you'll have to go tomorrow as they're hard to reach to get you 100. The course is actually pretty generous on coins, there's 146 altogether, so you're not tight on like some of the other 100 coin stars in this game, but a lot of those don't have instant death everywhere, nor the same insane platforming everywhere, and messing up getting any of these coins can screw you over. Well, not for me. Thank you, save states. Goodness knows how long I would have spent getting this star if it wasn't for those. Oh, and one more thing. The star appears on the top of the 100th coin, so I hope you can get that 100th coin in a nice place. No, no, no! I may love the Seaside Kingdom, but this volleyball minigame can go to hell. Beach volleyball hero of the beach, more like beach volleyball villain of the beach. If there was an award for most obnoxious moon and the herding sheep in the wooded kingdom didn't exist, then this moon would win it easily. You need to hit the volleyball back 100 times. Doesn't sound too bad, and it isn't at first because it takes so long for the ball to move. Seriously, just hurry it up, mate. Okay, I take that back. When the ball starts bouncing faster, you pretty much have to rely on throwing Cappy to hit the ball back. But one miss aim, which when you're volleying it back 100 times, it's likely to happen at some point, and it's back to hit 1. I am slightly grateful you only lose if the ball stops altogether instead of losing as soon as it hits the ground. Otherwise, this would have been cracking the top of this list. Super Mario Sunshine is easily the hardest 3D Mario game today. Sadly, not always for the right reasons, especially when it came to the secret areas in Delfino Plaza. There's the obvious Machinko machine, but that's only really hard because everything in that level, you know, doesn't work! For me, the worst of the bunch is the lily pad ride. Besides pissing me off already before the level starts, because somebody at Nintendo thought it'd be fun to make us wait ages on the boat without letting Yoshi dissolve, but the level it leads to is much worse. Welcome to the lily pad ride.
Oh, damn.
That water everywhere, so much as touch it, dead. And you need to collect the 8 red coins. The first couple aren't too bad, but the others require you to steer the lily pad into them. It's easier said than done. The worst of the bunch has to be this 7th coin, because you actually have to jump for it. Mess that up, well, the poison water will happily greet you. You don't have to get all of the red coins in one go, but if you do mess up, you need to run back on a very thin platform. Have fun with that. It often just feels like luck when I beat this one, but these last 2, however... New Super Luigi U is definitely a lot more challenging than New Super Mario Bros. U, but I think anyone who's played this game knows which level I'm going to be talking about. Great Bars of Fire is nothing short of agony. The level obviously contains fireballs that are huge and spin stupidly fast all over the place. It actually ends up looking like it's from a ROM hack towards the end. Some might find that a nice challenge, some might find that bad design. I think you can tell which way I think. You actually need to take the name of the stage very literally. If you sprint at the right time, you can actually avoid all of the fire, but that requires numerous almost frame perfect jumps, especially for those first 2 star coins. But after enough practice, you should be able to get through only to realise yeah, you have to get through all of that mess, only taking 1 hit tops if you want that last star coin. Good luck! So especially in the perfect run pretty much establishing the hardest level at the end of a 3D game by now, it was no surprise that Super Mario 3D World had one. Once you get all of the green stars, stamps, and those golden flags, thankfully without every character this time, 5 playthroughs would have been annoying, your reward, and I use the word reward very loosely, is Champions Road. A level that if you don't enter with 2 power-ups available, you're insane, because good luck getting past all these tricky platforming without one, well unless you're one of the ladies. These tiny platforms are hard to land on, but you can dash on them to make them a lot easier. Fast blinking blocks that require very precise jumps unless you have a Tanuki or Katsu, bouncing off piranha plants where being Toad or Rosalina will screw you over, and the insane amount of dash panels at the end where you also have to jump over bottomless pits, and shockwaves everywhere whilst trying to get the 5 key coins. They really had to save the hardest part for the end, didn't they? You can probably guess how many checkpoints there are on this stage as well. Now, depending on which character you are, Champions Road might actually be easier, Peach, but if you want to 100% this level, you need to beat this stage as every character. With differing abilities, that's 5 friggin' playthroughs, and their weaknesses will get you at some point. Luigi's traction on the tight platforms, Mario and Toad's weaker jumps like everywhere, and this part is fun with Rosalina. The only reason it's not number 1 is because you have the power-ups to help you. I seriously recommend coming in with a Tanuki and Katsu. I cannot say the same for number 1. It wouldn't be a hardest Mario level if this level wasn't on here. Is there actually anyone who doesn't consider the perfect run to be the hardest star in the game? The ultimate test had enough challenge on its own, but you had checkpoints and multiple hits to help you. There's no such luck in the perfect run. Making those 2 changes might be small, but it says the difficulty through the roof. But those 2 things weren't the only things changed to make this level harder. In the ultimate test, the opening area had Paragoombas, which you could jump on. But in the perfect run, they'd been replaced by choppers, which you can't jump on, and have a deceptively large hitbox, making this opening area one of the hardest parts. The other main area that gave me trouble is the last bit as well, because there's hammers flying everywhere. I would complain that getting hit by a hammer would send you into a bottomless pit, but you know, the boomerang bros at the end are an issue however, because if you crouch, those boomerangs can never hit you, but that won't stop a hammer trying to catch you out. As for the rest, it's easy to outrun the enemies on the Switch planet. The electric maze has lots of room and is very generous with cloud flowers. The platform planets you can make a lot easier with any spare cloud flowers, otherwise have fun dodging everything with the disappearing platforms. And the pool star area, you can easily just drop out of them so the electric will never reach you. Sure, it sounds like a lot of it is easy, but those hard parts, yeah, pretty freaking hard. But it feels amazing when you first knock out those last boomerang bros and see Rosalina at the end. Unlike other levels where you had some form of help, like extra hits, power-ups, etc., here you had no such luck. You quite literally had to have a perfect run. And see what the public's been capable of in the original Super Mario Maker? Goodness knows what I've got coming up in Super Mario Maker 2. There's probably Daredevil equivalents coming up that are way worse than this, though at least I can now suffer with my friends. Thank you, Nintendo!
Oh, yeah.